Hey, what's up, guys? We are back to take on Arizona. This time we are in Arizona in a stadium that looks like it's very oddly shaped. I don't really understand what's going on with this building on the side of the stadium. Wouldn't people just go into the building to watch the game for free? How does this work? Or climb up on the roof? Whatever. Anyway, welcome back to Football Manager, where nothing has to make sense. It just has to look pretty. We're taking on Arizona, which is not going to look very pretty for them. This stadium is a little bit bizarre in its design, but that's okay. We'll go with it. And I'm not sure why Arizona's in blue. That's kind of odd. Gallagher picks this one off of his blue counterpart and knocks it over to Aldana, who has a little header on goal that ends up being saved by the Arizona goalkeeper. And that is the way that this one gets underway. And, yep, we're just going to move forward and see what happens. Here we go with Gallagher with the ball about 10 minutes into it. Chris moves over to Bowden. Bowden up to Daryl Daly. Daryl Daly looks forward, looking for Aldana, and there is that threaded pass. And that one just about gets past the defense. It's Chronic, the Arizona goaltender, who has to make the save. And this game remains scoreless here in the early going, but that was an excellent, excellent pass to Aldana, and it's really fortunate for Arizona that they were able to get to that. Here is a corner now from Jim Rocha, who hasn't played for a little while. He knocks this one over, looking for Gallagher, can't quite find him, and it's Meza who's able to get onto it. Cesar Meza over to Jim Rocha. Rocha back to Meza. Meza back to Daly. Daly with it now, and Daly ends up knocking it straight into the defender, but then gets it back from Sun Hyun Taek over to Meza, then to Rocha. And this is headed back, and Matt Williams slides in, two-footed, and fortunately for him, is able to prevent anything poor from happening. And Arizona is able to lump this ball up forward, and we have yet to score. I only started Bowden and Daly because my assistant manager told me to, and I thought, yeah, why not? Might as well. And they are really, really tired and going to have to come off soon. It might have been a poor decision on my part. Bowden with the shot here from point-blank range, and he missed everything. I don't know where he thought the goal was. Maybe he needs glasses. Gallagher now throws this into Bowden. Evan Bowden takes it here on this side, looks for Daly, but just can't find him. And it is Arizona with the ball again, and we'll see if they actually can mount an attack this time. And Aldana almost able to sneak in there and to intercept that one. That would have been pretty nice, but he just missed it. Alpha Do with it over to Sun Hyun Taek to Bowden. Back to Gallagher. Chris Gallagher pulls this one up over to Daryl Daly. Passes back down to Chris Gallagher. Gallagher over to Bowden. Bowden goes back to Alpha Do, and Alpha Do does a little bit of deking with it and then sends it back to Korn, the goaltender, who flips this one on over to Matt Williams. Matt Williams, and he passes that over to Rocha. Rocha up looking for Aldana and just can't find him. And this is knocked back out for another goal kick. And we end up not winning that one in the air, but we do have a free kick here on this other side. It's Alpha Do who has the header coming out of nowhere, and that one hits off of the right side of the woodwork and ends up being caught by the goaltender for a save. And boy, Alpha Do came pretty much out of nowhere with that one. I thought that Aldana was going to get his head on that, and it looked like he just missed. And Alpha Do came out of the middle of nowhere to get his head onto it. So not a bad job so far, and it's Alpha Do with his ball again. Alpha Do with it brings it up forward, as somebody did tell me the computer doesn't know what to do if your defenders start moving the ball forward. Aldana doesn't know what to do either. He has the ball there and has a little golf tee shot, chip shot rather, that goes up almost into the second deck. I'm not quite sure what Aldana was thinking. This is what happens. These guys sometimes make poor decisions, and I can't tell you what the decision-making is like because we're playing hardcore mode. We don't have all of those attribute numbers and all those other things that people like to obsess over. It's Matt Williams with it now. Passes it forward to Chris Gallagher. Gallagher with it, and he walks this one up completely unimpeded, and is then going to make the pass back to Meza, and then they do get a foot onto it, and it is Sun Hyun Taek who's called for the foul. As usual, it's kind of unusual for us to have a game in which Sun Hyun Taek is not called for a foul or two, and that means it's Arizona ball. No score here in this one, and it's Benitez who, as I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of, who wins this ball off of the offensive player for Arizona. Knocks us back to Aldana, who goes over to Meza, who takes a very ill-advised shot from range, and it's a 0-0 game. We are dominating just about everything, though, but we do have some poor performances from some good players, as we usually do, and we need to make a couple substitutions. Daly hasn't looked good at all. Bowden also hasn't looked very good, so we bring on Sidney Amutenia and Grant Martin. We're going to go with youth. Matt Williams will take you off, and I think we'll take Alpha Do off as well, put on Glenn Cook. We'll keep it at that. 4 substitutions at halftime shows you how I feel about that performance. And hey, maybe we won't win. Wouldn't that be interesting if we actually lost a match or if we drew another one? That would be different, at least, from winning every single match and not really trying all that hard. It is Jim Roca here with the corner, still 0-0, 46th minute, and looks for Gallagher, can't quite find him. This goes back to Cook. Cook over to Roca. Roca's onside, I suppose. Passes this one back to Omatenya. Omatenya will set this back up over to Son Heung-taek. Passes this back to McNellis, who just came on. McNellis over to Son Heung-taek, and he takes a shot from range that I'm not quite sure why he's doing that, but it's a little bit ridiculous for him to do so. And Arizona with the free kick, and we're able to knock that one out over to Roca to Benitez. And Benitez will walk this one up, and he'll pass back to McNellis and see if McNellis walks it up, nobody will touch him. But unfortunately, he instead lumps over to Aldana, and this is lumped back to Aldana again, and he misses the shot that was absolutely wide open. I hate it when Cesar does this. He rounds the keeper, looks good doing it. Good pass from Son Heung-taek. He gets the ball in the right place. He rounds the keeper, and then he takes a shot, and he just misses the target. That's all there was to it. He didn't do anything wrong. He was in the right place. He did the right thing. He just missed the target. That's all we can say. Missed it. And we're looking a little bit tired. We're looking a little bit like we don't really want to play this match. And it's looking not so good. And here's Arizona with this corner. Are we going to go behind here? Elliott comes back to take this, lumps this one up, but Korn is able to get a hand onto it, and he corrals this one in, then flips it over to McNellis. McNellis with it and passes over to Cook. Cook over to Gallagher. Gallagher with it over to Martin. Martin down to Omatenya, and he's got guys to choose from, and he chooses Meza. Says, Cesar Meza, I choose you. That one goes through Chronic and hits again off the woodwork. 3 times we've hit it so far today. So I hope that you're not doing one of those drinking games where you take a shot for every time we hit the crossbar. If you do that, you're going to probably be a little bit tipsy right now. And the Chronic has it, and we have to wait and see what comes next. Poor match from Jim Roca, from Cesar Aldana, from a number of these players, and we need to see a little bit more. In fact, maybe I should start shouting. You know, I don't like to shout that much at these guys, but when they're not playing well, there's not much else you can do. Roca knocks this up, looking for Gallagher, and it's Son Heung-taek actually who knocks that one over everyone's head again. And he has a habit of doing that, of sort of getting onto something and then not figuring out what to do with it, and then sort of wasting the opportunity. We've fired up and motivated players by the feedback. Hopefully they'll actually do something, though. I don't care about how they feel. I care about whether they score. And that's a poor pass from McNellis. It's with Moreno now. But fortunately for us, we're able to get ahead onto that, preventing that cross. Gifford, and it's Cook going back to grab that one over to Jim Roca, and he passes forward to Mates over to Aldana. Down first time to Grant Martin, but he is tackled, and the ball's taken off of him. This is lumped back towards the middle. It's Cook who grabs over to Meza, to Son Heung-taek over to Jim Roca, and he's looking for Benitez, and that's why I don't like Benitez. He's not very good at getting onto those. This one is passed back down, and oh man, Donnelly's wide open, and Korn fortunately is able to get over and make the save. And this is a very, very nerve-wracking moment for us. I can't do any more shouts, so I hope that shout that I did made some sort of difference. Gumbar is going to take this corner, and fortunately for us, we are able to knock it out. Jim Roca just goes over and takes the ball off of the Arizona player like there's nothing to it. He passes back to Omatenya, and that's the end of the highlight. Chris Gallagher now passes to Mates over to Cook. Cook to Son Heung-taek. Son Heung-taek back to Cook, down to Gallagher. Chris Gallagher with it now will bring it up, and he's just not able to pass it in time as that's taken off of him. And boy, Omatenya really, really close to getting a red card there as well. We've had a number of instances such like that. Omatenya passes this forward looking for Jim Roca. Can't quite find him. McNellis with it now. McNellis passes back to Son Heung-taek. Son Heung-taek lumps this forward. There you go to Aldana, and Aldana misses another one off the woodwork. How did he miss that one? And the cross is going back looking for Aldana again, and he's nowhere to be found. How did he miss this one? How many times is he going to hit the bar in this game? I mean, this is ridiculous. He's in the perfect position, and I mean, he just misses it. He misses it, right? He doesn't even have to head it. He just takes it down a little bit, and he's wide open. He can get the easy goal, and instead he tries to do it the hard way and ends up hitting crossbar. So I don't know. Is there a magnet in this crossbar or something? I don't get it. Maybe you can tell me what's going on. Son Heung-taek with this ball now over to Jim Roca. Roca over to McNellis. McNellis, as we set this back up again, McNellis with it over to Benitez. Benitez looks down and goes past his man, lumps this one forward to Amutenya. Amutenya with the cross again, and it goes pretty much nowhere. Son Hyun-taek, though, able to run that one down. 10 minutes left in this match. It's Cook with it over to McNellis. McNellis with it. McNellis looks forward, and he needs to pass. He passes back to Son Hyun-taek over to Jim Rocha, and he's fouled, and that's going to be a player sent off for Arizona. That's probably the first big break we've had of this match, and it's going to be Rocha, I think. Yes, it will be, taking this free kick, and he lumps the shot on goal, and Chronic has it. And we need to get this ball back, and we got to do this in a hurry, and I'm not liking the looks of this. Robinson with it for Arizona, but it's Aldana this time making the big defensive move and making the steal. He's got nobody to cross it to. There's Grant Martin. Martin back to Meza, and the guys are kind of walking their way upfield, and this is knocked back for a corner. And we could use a little bit more pep and energy in our step, guys. I mean, that was a real big opportunity, and we couldn't get the counterattack because nobody was there. Jim Rocha knocks this one forward, looking for Gallagher. It's over to Meza, and he takes a shot from range, and it goes nowhere. Maybe I should be playing Gallagher instead of Football Manager. What do you think? Rocha back to Son Hyun-taek. Son Hyun-taek with this, looks forward for Jim Rocha, finds him. And instead of crossing the ball and threading the needle, he passes back to McNellis. McNellis does that thing where, as a defender, he sort of runs all over the field and nobody can catch him, even though he's slower than everyone else. Yeah, that might need some fixing. Anyway, this match is going to end as a 0-0 draw. This is probably the worst match that we've had so far this season. This is getting me interested in the season again since we're not dominating. Benitez with it, and he passes down to Meza, over to Aldana. Aldana over to Martin. Martin lumps his forward. He was looking for Aldana, and Aldana's in the wrong place. It's there's a cross into Aldana, and Chronic crosses the line there. He actually walks through the crossbar. A little bit of problem with the graphics engine there. Son Hyun-taek with it, passes it backwards to Korn. Don't know what he's doing. That gives them time to set up their defense, and it's Martin with it. Passes down to Amutenya. Amutenya has a couple seconds left, doesn't know what he's doing. Passes it back to Chris Gallagher. Passes it over to Meza, who's happy with keeping it in the defense. It's over to Amutenya. Amutenya now, and he walks past his man and lobs one forward, looking for nobody, and that's the end of the match. And that does it. And this was definitely a clear-cut chance. And, I mean, it's ridiculous that Rocha can't get to that one. And this is even worse. And that really should be in there. And you can see Chronic's back ends up disappearing through the upright. And I forgot about this, but we have extra time. So I'm going to point the finger and say I'm not happy with your performance out there, because I'm not. We've had a lot of players playing poorly. Aldana is going to come off. He's going to come off for John Cornelson, and Son Hyun-taek, who's playing poorly, is going to come off for Chavez. And we're going to go back, and we'll start extra time. And let's see what happens. We dominated everything in this match except for the scoreline, as Benitez with the ball. Over to McNellis. McNellis lumps this forward for Jim Rocha. Jim Rocha has it, and he will move this up into the shade. Over to Benitez, back to Rocha. Rocha looks forward and finds just about nobody, and let's see what happens as this game moves along. We have a number of players who are looking tired. It's White here lumping this forward for Arizona, but Korn gets onto that one and grabs it, and he is going to distribute this ball one way or another. Throws it over to Gallagher. Gallagher is really, really tired after running the ball forward so many times. He passes down Tenya over to Martin. Martin takes this forward by himself. Grant Martin with no one on him passes back to Meza over to Chavez, who's wide open. And he takes a shot, is deflected. And that was a good idea, but it didn't go anywhere. This one's lumped back up to Korn, and he grabs it. And he's going to walk with it a little bit. And here comes that throw again over to Chris Gallagher, who we probably should take off. I don't know if I can, though. I don't know if I have another substitution. We'll look in a second. Pass goes down to Chavez, who passes it forward looking for Rocha, and Cornelson doesn't know what he's doing, the replacement striker, and we kind of missed Aldana there. And that is a goal for Buenos for Arizona, who, because of his efforts, we, for the first time, I think, all season in this conference, are behind. We're behind 1-0 to Arizona, a team that we shouldn't be behind to. That was a poor play by Korn. That was a really bad job. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's standing right in the middle of nowhere, and this is a problem. And we're going to try to demand more from this team and at least get a draw out of this instead of getting nothing. We've dominated the entire match, and we're looking really, really poor. There's a pass into Martin, back down Mutenya. Mutenya lumps this forward as a cross, and it's deflected, and it's back to Chronic. counterattacking works, and that was a good counterattack by Arizona. This is knocked back towards Gallagher, who apparently is fit enough to go back and get that. Passes down to McNellis. McNellis with it, and he'll walk this forward. Pass over to Meza. Meza with it now. Meza, and he's going to pass back to Gallagher. Gallagher lumps this forward from Mutenya, who knocks a crossover quickly, and it ends up with Abraham Chavez, who scores the goal. That's his first goal for us, and that's a 1-1 draw now, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered. It was Cornelson who had this ball, and he passed it backwards to Chavez, which was an interesting strategy. So Mutenya with his good cross. Cornelson has it, and he just knocked it back to Chavez, who I would never have expected to score. Chavez came on for Sun Hyun Taek, as you recall, and he has scored the equalizer, and we have new life. And it is Gallagher who winds up with this ball in the back, and he passes to Cook, over to Chavez, back to Cook. Cook with it, and he passes down to McNellis. McNellis brings this forward, and he lumps it forward looking for Cornelson, and it goes right back to McNellis. McNellis over to Cook. Cook with it, where you're playing patiently, pass up to Gallagher. Gallagher with it, over to Martin. Martin knocks this one forward, looking for Jim Roca, and finds him, and there's a goal, and I think he's onside. They're going to have a check on this one. I'm pretty sure, though, that Jim Roca was onside. It looked good to me, and that is awarded. Yeah, that is onside. So as you can see here, Gallagher just sort of sees what's or Martin, rather, sees what's happening, and he just knocks this one forward, and Jim Roca is going to beat his man. He just barely beat Chronic, who almost stopped that one from going in. 2-1 BYU, and this is a little bit more like it. And I tell you don't want to get us behind. And yeah, look at that. I mean, Roca was just right behind the defender, just behind him enough for that to be okay. Jim Roca with the big goal, and we're going to need to see if we can make a change or two here. I don't think that we can, though. Chavez with it back to Benitez. Benitez is one of those guys I'd love to take off if I could. And unfortunately, this is lumped back forward for Arizona, and we've got to get back. And here is Moreno with it, and it's Benitez who can hear what I'm saying, who wins that ball forward for us, over to Martin, over to Jim Roca. Jim Roca should have rounded the keeper there, came very, very close to doing so. That was a real, real good display by Jim Roca, and you can see, man, we have totally dominated the match momentum here in the last minute or 5 or so. This is lumped on forward all the way back to Korn as the Arizona goaltender Chronic is trying to score a goal of his own. Don't know why he won't trust his teammates, but this was Roca here again, wide open, and just wasn't quite able to get around that defender. He was around the goaltender enough, but was not quite able to round that defender. And we're going to go take a quick look here at the subs. We have 0 of 6 substitutions remaining, so we have to stick with these guys for 15 more minutes, see if they can do it. And it's Cook passing down to Martin. Martin looks over for somebody, and nobody's there, so it's Arizona that wins the ball back. Chronic here now with the goal kick, and he's going to lump this one forward, and Mutenya goes over and gets it. Mutenya with it, looks forward, looks up, pass, and he passes it all the way over to Benitez, who lumps this over to Roca, who has some sort of strange cross that goes up into the air about 20 feet. Chavez with it now over to Meza. Meza down to Mutenya. Mutenya looks forward for Cornelson, and he should have scored. John, you should have scored. What's going on, John? This is why you don't get more game time, because you can't score that one. I mean, this is really, really well done. So that part right here wasn't Roca, and I see what happened here. He had a shot on goal that was sort of lumped up in the air. That wasn't so well done. It was the cross afterwards that was really good, and Cornelson just missed. That free kick by Jim Roca is knocked out by the Arizona defender. This winds up as a corner that Roca will take, and he steps back and steps forward and takes the corner, and Chronic punches this out, but it's down with Mates over to Gallagher. Gallagher over to somebody. Didn't tell me who that was. It's a little bit odd, and the shot is nowhere near the target anyway. And it's Arizona with this, and boy, that was a great play. That was a great play down here by whoever this was, Gallagher. Gallagher's totally, totally tired, but he jumped up in the air to intercept that pass. And boy, he's really, really had a good game, hasn't he? This is going to be who? This is going to be Jim Roca again with a free kick. He's been providing all the offense today, and he knocks this one forward, and Chronic is forced to make a really, really good save. This Jim Roca kid is, I think, 16 years old, if I remember right, and he's all over the place, and he's making it look easy. Roca goes back to take this corner, and he lumps this one forward looking for Gallagher and just can't quite get it to him, and it is Chronic, who chronically is aware, and he is able to grab that ball. Now it's Gallagher who's going to just barely beat his man back to get this one. These are the last couple of minutes of this match. It look like they're never going to end. Meza over to Mutenya. Amutenya, and he'll pass this back to Gallagher. Gallagher, that's a risky pass over to Meza to Amutenya again. Amutenya with this up to Chavez. Chavez over to Cornelson, and he just lumps that one over to Roca, over to Amutenya, who has it then, and Amutenya gets this back, and it goes over to Meza, over to Chavez. Chavez passes forward to Amutenya, who scores, and he's got to be offside. That's got to be offside. That was a great goal by Sidney Amutenya, but he must have been offside. He looked offside to me. And let's see what happens. The Arizona players are complaining loudly, and that is actually awarded. Wow, so it's going to be 3-1 BYU. And I thought for sure that he was offside here. So Mates over to Chavez. Chavez, and there's the pass. No, he's onside because their central defender was standing in the wrong place. He's a little bit further forward where he probably should be. That wouldn't have been. Look at that. He's just onside. And we did have a player who was offside, but who's on the other side of the play and didn't have anything to do with it. 3-1 BYU, and that's going to be the big win. And I'm going to be interested to see what the match stats say at the end of this one. Roca lumps this forward looking for Cornelson, who stops running. John, this is why you're not starting. Over to Gallagher. Gallagher to Meza. Meza to Martin. Martin over to Roca. And his shot is just off target, but he's offside anyway. And it doesn't matter. This is going to be the end of the match. Probably the final kick right here. Chronic goes back to take this, surveys the field, lumps this one forward, and knocks it to nobody, and that is the end. And we were on fire here in extra time. Absolutely right. We had an XG of 4.21, which is not as high as I thought it would be. We dominated the possession about 65%, and yet we still barely squeaked away with a victory in a very close game. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll have more for you tomorrow. Bye.